I was like, I can't let my kids be like, you know what I'm saying, Dad, he getting old.
Bro.
When they graduate, I'm already be old when they graduate, so I can't be old and out of shape.
Bro. Can't be old in that shape. You gotta have a little swag. So I was just talking to my trainer. I say my trainer. A
Yeah.
trainer, a friend of mine that I know who got his own gym going, cracking. Shout out to George Lopez. But I hit him up and said, man, I'm trying to. How much is it for you to train me, bro? Let me get back at this thing.
Right.
I'll work out 3 times a week.
Yeah.
I train my online clients, and we do like a 45-minute workout and things like that. And
Yeah.
I'm in the garage. I had dumbbells, which is cool. And I got a little bit of weight, but like,
Yeah.
what it's like as a trainer,
Right.
or at least for me as a trainer, it's different getting the focus on me versus me focusing on the people,
man.
right?
Yeah.
So probably the same
Completely
thing.
different world.
Yeah, man. So
And
I want to be the client. Let me give him some attention. You know what I'm saying?
And I realized that as I grow, so does my workouts. They have to switch. So, as I was younger, I didn't really have to worry about, leg days, or I really didn't have to worry about, cardio and stuff like that, because I was playing ball. You was playing some.
That was the cardio, right?
That was my cardio. Like, I was playing ball. You was always running around doing something. So you already had cardio. So now realizing that
cardio has to be a thing that's actually a part in the regimen, bro.
It has to be. And for me, getting to the age that I am now, I have to do it. Probably 75% of my workout is cardio. And
How old are you, brother?
39 now.
And we 39 together up in this thing, bro. We listen, we ain't knocking on the door now, brother. We've already knocked, and that mug is kind of just
we listen. We here. So I realized for me, but I do probably 75% is cardio, with the other percent being and I don't lift heavy anymore. So it's just my physique and my build, even genetically, is just wider, thicker framed. And so I just naturally hold that frame, but I don't lift heavy anymore because
brother,
I'm not trying to impress nobody.
What we doing, man? No, I ain't trying to.
I ain't got to go to the bench and be like, hey, let me put on 345s.
Put that other plate on there. No, I'm gonna start with one plate, and I might
put on something else. Maybe.
I might put on 2, maybe.
Yeah, like I'm not going more than 2
maybe some 20, maybe a 25. On top of the 45. But I ain't.
I don't do. I promise you. If you would see me in the gym, you ain't see me do more than 2 plates on the bench. Probably about 2, 3 years.
Like the 2 plates is the max, bro. I'm going for
it. I'm 39 now. What I look like being like, I can move a bus. Like, who cares, bro? For what? I ain't moving no bus. I'm moving kids. That's it.
Kids, bro.
I'm moving kids. So I mean, my regiment has changed completely. But I realized how the need of it in my life. So,
bro, what's so crazy, man, is that we're not even into the talk yet, brother.
We ain't even started.
This is just warm up right here, man. I didn't even introduce.
This is just warm up.
I didn't even tell everybody who you are yet, bro. That's what's crazy about it.
I'm just telling you. Here's a little tidbit before you even jump in. As you grow, listen to your body, because your body gonna tell you what you need to do,
and not on what you don't need to do,
and what you don't need to do.
The do's and the don'ts.
When you don't need to do it. Listen to it and adjust as you go forward.
Don't listen to your pride, man. Don't be like Martin. Martin said, I got my pride, Gina.
That's it. Martin tried to tell you, I got my pride. I put on plates.
No. I ain't Martin Payne, brother. I ain't doing it. So Marty Marr. so listen, man. Listen. Okay, we ain't gonna waste too much time, man. This is my I got a lot of pastors and coaches out there, man. There's a lot of work I need in my life. So I got a lot of several people, pastors and coaches that I call my coaches and my pastors. So this dude, we met each other at Rhema back in 2006.
6.
Which is your second year, my first year. Crazy.
Yeah.
That is to the day. That's 15 years ago.
Bro, that's wild.
It's almost 20 years. I remember when, I mean, it was big then to be 20 years out of high school. This is almost 20 years from, whoa. So this is none other than Gerrard Patton. And really his government name, as they would say, is Walter. Come on,
G.
man.
Yeah.
Walter G. Patton, baby.
Yes, sir.
WGP, not GN, WGP. Okay.
That's it.
Man, we met at Rhema. He's now a pastor. He's on the pastoral staff. You're not a head pastor, but you.
No, I'm not senior. I'm a family ministries pastor. Here.
A family ministries pastor. Okay.
Yeah, which that means that I'm responsible from cradle to college. So those are the
cradle to college.
Cradle to college are the years that are under my influence, under my supervision. So it's fun. It's a lot of fun.
So let's talk about cradle. How many kids do you have?
We have 4. So my wife had one before we got married, and we've had 3 since we got married. And so we've got 4 in the house.
So y'all don't have. So I'm going sports terms here. So y'all don't have. So we got 2. So you don't have. Scotty and Pip. You already know. 2. You ain't got. You don't even have the big 3.
No.
You got super team. You Brooklyn Nets in this thing, brother.
Yeah. So and when we playing defense, it's zone defense here, boy. You can't play man to man.
We get the buckets on the other end. So that's it. So you got KD, Harden, Kyrie, Aldridge, Blake. Okay.
Hey, we playing a boxing one, and we just letting that one just run everywhere. Just do what you gotta do.
Dang,
boy,
boy. Ooh.
It's that life right now.
Give me the ages.
So we have an 8-year-old, we have a 4-year-old, we have a 2-year-old, and we just have a 5-month baby as well. 5 months.
So with those 2 youngest, we're in the same boat. My baby, youngest baby, is going into the 4th month.
Okay.
And I have a 2-year-old.
Okay.
So we right there, brother.
We right there, bro. And our 2-year-old is he's as big as our 4-year-old. So he big, and he's everywhere.
Stage 2.
Stage 2, right? Act 2, scene 2, all of it. He everywhere. So
what's it like trying to get their brother to sleep at night?
Man, I can't even lie to you. He go to sleep no problem because he has my genes.
He just keeps going.
When you you let him go, he runs his battery out. So by the time he gets to the end of the night, he won't tell you. He just climbs.
He go buck wild all day.
All day, 24/7. Then when it comes time to go to sleep, he just rolls over and it's a wrap. So he actually is all right. It's his older sister who is 4, who is the night owl, wants to stay up, wants to hang out. She's the one who wants to hang out all night. But the others, man, they sleep. They sleep.
Man, I'm sitting here thinking, man, I you said the family ministry, the family. Say the position again.
Family ministries pastor.
Family ministries pastor is industry. It's interesting that as you said that as you're talking, I can't help but think about 2 of my good friends, it's my good friend and his wife, but they become friends of ours. Shout out to the Bellamy's out there, Fire and Brandy Bellamy, but they do kind of the same thing. So I'm some things working in my mind about having maybe some different. Different, maybe a panel on this thing, or who in ministry, and we can get some stuff about this. And we gonna. I got some stuff coming, man. We gonna do it, man. All right. So, man, how long you been married?
We've been married 5 years. Take that back, 6 years. Excuse me. 6 years now.
Get it right, brother. Get it.
Oh yeah, she'll watch this and she'll come after me now.
Get it. She said, "Boy, you made it. You straightened it up quick." She said,
Yeah, we're on our 7th.
Hey, bro, you
year.
said 5. You said, man, we've been married 5 years. My mistake. We've been married 6. You
Yeah,
called
you
it
already
quick,
know.
brother. You
It
called
was quick. It was a quick adjustment. All right. My brain said, and then I just I changed that right quick. But we've been married. We were on our 7th year this year now, and it's the golden year. It's the year of the Lord. God's perfect number.
the day of rest, brother.
Bruh, you already know. So 7 years for us. We we met while I was in the military before I went to Rhema. So we met before I left for Rhema, and then God called me from Tampa, Florida, where I was stationed at, to Oklahoma to go to college.
Did he
And
call you on your cell phone? What did he call you on?
oh, bro, he called me every which way you could think of.
He emailed you, brother.
Boy, every which way you can think of. He said, "You going?"
That's what's
And
up.
so I left, and my wife and we had broke up. I remember even the conversation when we broke up. I remember even afterwards calling my mother and being like, "Hey, me and Diane, we splitting up." And she was like, "Are you sure?" And I said,
Hold on. Stop.
"Yeah."
Because I don't even think I even knew this.
You
Okay.
didn't?
So you said you're saying you and your wife, like this is obviously y'all married now.
Yeah.
We are married then when you said you called it.
We weren't married.
Y'all girlfriend, boyfriend. Okay. Woo.
Yeah. Yeah. So we were dating. We were young. We was dating, and I moved to Oklahoma. And so in the process, I moved there, and in my mind, I had already had it planned out. She was going to come there, go to school with me, and we were going to finish and then enter in ministry right after. And so as I got there the first year, we actually broke up in the first year because I assumed she was going to come, and she actually received a ministry position with a prominent pastor here in Tampa. So she was working on staff with that pastor at the time. So then I was like, well, there's no way this can work because, I'm at Raymond. You not coming to Raymond? Like, you don't want the same like in your mind, especially as a young man, you have the way that things are supposed to play out. When they don't play out, you mentally go, oh, well, then this obviously isn't what God had for me. And so in the process,
and not even as a young man, I think many of us as people, as humans, we make this mistake.
Right. We make the mistake saying, okay, I have a game plan, and with my game plan, when God's game plan doesn't meet up with my game plan, we come to a crossroads.
The game is over.
The game is over, right?
Yeah.
We come to a crossroads where we have to make a decision. You want God's way or your way? And so in the process, I broke up with her, and we actually mutually broke up at that point. And so during that time, I measured everyone up to my wife. So when I was dating everybody, she already had this imprint in my life that lasted forever, and everybody else had to measure up to her. So even as I'm getting home from dating people like
that. This is your wife now, right?
Yeah, this is my wife now. Yeah.
So I didn't even know this, bro. I didn't even know this when we was. Wow. This is crazy. So you already knew you were dating before Rhema, and this person was somebody who was already a standard of a woman.
Yeah. In my mind, she was the standard, the one who got away. And so,
and you got her back.
So when it happened, I was like, there's afterwards, I was like, there's no way. Then in the process, she had a baby. And so I'm thinking, okay, she's going to be with the dude she had a baby with. Like, that's what it is. And so she actually ended up breaking up with the dude she had a baby with. And I actually reached out to her. Actually on Facebook, shout out to Mark Zuckerberg.
Shout out to Mark Zuckerberg.
Shout out to Zuckerberg. You know what I'm talking about, Zuck.
Come on, Zuck.
Yeah, appreciate you, Zuck.
Zuck up.
I reached out to her via Facebook, and we just started connecting again. And after the first time that I saw her, and we were apart for 8 years. And the first time that I saw her after those 8 years, I said, I'm not going to let her go. Lightning don't strike.
Hey, brother, you did a air proposal. Because you didn't have the ring. So hey, will you marry? You put it on. Just
I was like, listen, you ain't going nowhere twice. This ain't gonna happen again.
Did you say this to her for real though?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So what was her response to that?
She was like, I agree. She was like, okay, let's go. Because we knew that we were each other's standard. We knew that no one was going to measure up to each other. We knew that God had put us together even when we did date. So for instance, when we did date, for those of you who aren't dating or who are, looking for Mr. Right or Mrs. Right, here's what it is. We didn't look for each other. The Bible says that he who finds a wife finds a good thing. But the connotation of finding a wife isn't searching like you search in Google. The finding a wife connotation in the Bible there is like en route to your location, which Matthew 6:33 says, seek first.
You come across, so you find.
Find en route, just like you're finding $1 when you going from your living room to your refrigerator and there happens to be $1 sitting on the floor. It's because you have your direction set, and in the process to your direction, you find what God has on the route of where you're headed. So we think of it as in 2021, you search. No.
It's actually no, brother. We thought this in 2000, brother. We thought this in 2007, exactly. 2008, brother.
It's because here's what it is, and we say this. Here's the phrase we say. We say it's in God's perfect timing, which it is. I'm not disagreeing with that. But if I buy something for you and I put it en route to the destination in which you're headed, and I say, on the road, I've put this thing on the road of your destination, which I say from where you are, go to the mall. And on your road, I'd set something for you there. Is it God's perfect timing, or is it because you pursued the route that God had you on that now you hit? Because God's not in time. God's actually outside of time. So God created time, and God was there before time even existed. So God's not subject to time. So as we go, Matthew 6:33, as we seek first the kingdom, as you're en route, you find what God already allotted for you.
All these things will be given to you. Right.
And all these things shall be given, right? So he already allotted the time in which you would meet, but it actually is hinging upon, are you on the route that God had set you to go on? Are you seeking first the kingdom above everything? Because if you seek first the kingdom, then the time in which you meet, it will happen because you meet and realize and find out, oh man, God, you put me on this route. You told me to go here. You told me to go there. The reason why a lot of people aren't finding who they're supposed to be with because they're looking. And that's not
the reason why you're not finding is because you're looking. I'm just gonna say that one more time to this ring of mine, because it messes with the psyche a little bit. The reason why you're not finding something is because you're looking for it.
And now, see, okay. And looking makes you look side to side. Does that make sense? But if you're finding, you're working linear, and if you're going linear, you're going to where God's called you.
This is why you're my pastor, man. I'm just trying to tell you. So look. It's interesting you say that, because I think I'm not even going to say churches teach us this.
Sure.
But I'm going to say in our minds, because in my mind I'm thinking actually people have said this in messages, like different ministers or different sermons I've heard, like, because he who finds a wife, it's like someone who loses their keys, and they're looking for their keys. No. So we've heard it before. So in people's minds, I think in certain people's minds, and maybe it's in my mind, for my mind, and for myself, I was looking. But what's crazy is, even when I was looking and trying to wife somebody up, right, and all this stuff, right, my wife came about, and I wasn't even looking for her.
But what were you busy doing?
Just on my journey, brother.
That's exactly because what happens is when you are going after God, you actually will notice another person who was on the same track as you.
You helping me, brother. Helping me. Help me. Preach. Come on. Help me.
You're noticing someone that's on the same track as you, and you going, "Oh, well, nice to meet you. I'm going this way too." So as you're in the conversation, your common ground.
Boy, I'm about to throw something.
your common ground is where you're. Can I tell you something? That's why people are here with us for seasons. That's why people are here with us for seasons, is because they're not walking in the same direction as you.
Okay. Well, what's your cash out? we in 2021 now. We can transfer stuff over. I gotta give my offering. They take the dollar down to the thing, to the basket, throw it in there, or throw it at the altar, or whatever.
Think about it. That's why people are in your life for seasons, is because they're not headed the same direction as you. Think about the people who are in your life who have been lifelong friends, such as you and I, for 15 years. And when we talk, we can pick up just like that. Why? It's because Matthew 6:33 is a core value in our life that's governing your life. So you are headed. So therefore, even if we don't talk, I still know the same track that you're on. So the commonality is we are still going in the same direction. The reason why you find people who are here for seasons is because they're not headed in the same direction. So therefore, you pass the scenery as you're driving on the highway. You can see somebody that's in the scenery in which you're passing, but dependent upon the speed that you're going is dependent on how fast you will lose or gain some people.
You see, that boy's a preacher. Look at look, he preaching himself heavy, man. Okay, look, so this is Gerrard, man. See, I'm only like one question in. We went off of that. I'm asking his brother how many kids he got married. He didn't go into this. So he's family ministries pastor. Okay, so look.
I gotta shut up before I get excited.
All right, man. No, you going in. That's what's up, man. So I like it though, man. That was good, man. That was good. It really helped me solidify some things, even with just our story. Yeah. So your life story, you came to Oklahoma. Where are you originally from? You're from where?
I'm from Dayton, Ohio. Now, I was born in Miami. My dad was military. Okay. And so I grew up in Dayton, but I was born in Miami, Florida.
So you did the opposite of LeBron.
Yeah, exactly.
You brought your talents.
I brought my talents
from South Beach.
From South Beach up to the coast.
To Akron. Man, you know what I love? One thing I love about LeBron that he always says, man, I've taken this slogan for myself, man. Mm-hmm. You know, I'm just a kid from Akron, man. I ain't even supposed to be here, brother.
Yeah, that's it.
I always say I'm just a kid from West Tulsa, man. I ain't even supposed to be up in this.
I ain't even supposed to be here, right?
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, that's very, very humbling, man.
Are you a LeBron or Jordan?
Are we done? We get out of here.
I know exactly what it is. We're not even gonna get into it.
So, from Miami, from Dayton to out to Ohio.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And then Ohio is where you grew up at.
So Ohio is where I grew up at. I grew up in the Midwest.
Elementary to high school.
Yeah, elementary to high school. Pretty much. We moved to Ohio in 1989. So I think I was in second grade, first grade, right around there. And then I graduated there. And then after I graduated, I took off and I went to the military. So it was
from high school.
Yeah, right after high school, I graduated. And then that summer, I was like, bro, I ain't got nothing going on. All these, everybody who I grew up with, it's the trap. They stay in the area.
The trap, bro.
You come back, and they ain't really doing nothing.
They trapping.
They trapping. That's the trap god. So I was like, I can't be a part of it. I realized I had to do something, and so.
So is it true about military? With your dad having military background, is it true that? Because I remember Chris, shout out to Paul Collins, man. Shout out to that boy.
Shout out to that boy.
His dad, he would talk about how his dad was in the military too. How his dad would like everything had to be a certain way and very neat and very like in order.
Yeah.
Like to the point to where he said his dad literally ironed the curtains, brother.
Yeah. So I have. There's been things that have stuck with me ever since I got out. There's things like that have been a part of my psyche.
Like what? Give me a couple of those.
For instance, the way I fold my clothes has been that way ever since I got out of the military. Folding it a certain way, a specific way, so that all of them match. They go in the drawer the same way.
Do you have a shirt? Do you have a shirt near you or something? I want to see this.
I don't have no shirt. I don't have no shirt near me, but it's the way I fold my clothes, the way I fold my socks, the way I fold my underwear, the way I put stuff in my drawer. Like,
I mean, you make sure that mug is flat.
Bro, I mean,
Bop.
well, when I go through and I want to wear a T-shirt, they're folded in a drawer, so I can literally just go, look down, wow, grab it out, because they're all folded the same way, and I can see what they are, so I can just shuffle through them.
Has your wife ever folded your clothes for you and it irritated the mess out of you because there's a certain way that?
Yeah, but it's the same way. She actually stopped folding my clothes because she was like,
have you ever folded her clothes for her the same way and she like, oh, this is nice?
Yes, absolutely. She'd be like, I know when you fold my clothes. I like it when you fold my clothes. Like, so because she can get it and she knows. I just haven't. So I've taught her a couple of times, and she
can't get it down.
She can't get it down, but it's because she hasn't had the training of where I sat there and just
every day.
When you're in the military, bro, we had to fold it with a ruler. So we had a ruler.
Thing down.
And the reason why we did it is because the width of your shirt had to be a certain amount of inches, and the depth of your shirt had to be a certain amount of inches.
So now you just playing it by eye. You just know.
Yeah. So you would fold it, and then we would have tweezers, and you would pull it so that it was all flush.
I wish you had a show you can show how to do this, bro. Like, for real, bro.
I don't go to the extreme of tweezers anymore, but that was the thing when you was in the military. And when you was in the military, they would do wall locker inspections. And so when you would get your wall locker inspected, when you're in basic training, it's one of the most nerve-wracking thing ever because you got
to make sure your stuff is straight.
You got to make sure everything is straight. Even when you close the drawer back, it can all shift if you close it too hard.
Right, so you got to close it just right so it doesn't.
So nothing moves, so everything stays perfect. Because if your wall locker is not in line, bro, they will open it up, pull everything out, shake it, do it again.
And you got to refold
everything.
Okay, so what did that do for you? That these things that we learn through wherever. What principle did that put inside of you as a person?
As a man, it taught me a level of discipline that I never experienced before. Yes, I played sports. Yes, I had discipline implemented from my family at home, but it's different. It teaches personal discipline. So how to govern yourself, because we understand, I mean, even bringing it back to the Bible, where the Bible says, the fruit of the Spirit is, and one of them, where it says peace, love, long-suffering, kindness, joy, and one of them is self-control. Right? Mm. And so it teaches you a level of self-control is always, it's another word, or it's a descendant or a cousin of discipline. Mm. And so what you're disciplined over in the areas where you don't see self-control, that means lack of discipline in that area. Mm. And so it just has allowed me to look at my life through a different lens, to where in an area where I don't see self-control, I can look at it, engage, and look at it and say, okay, let me make sure that this happens. All the way down to, I used that verse. We were actually studying that verse with the fruit of the Spirit and using it as a gauge in my own life, going, okay, what fruit do I see in my own life? What things do I see in my own life? And so it's caused me to do a level of self-evaluation. Fruit of the Spirit just means byproduct of the Spirit, right? So fruit of the Spirit is not necessarily meaning
it's the result of.
It's the result of, right? And so I look at that and see that and look at my own life and say the result of the Spirit of God will equal these things. Well, in the same context, the military has allowed me to do self-evaluation. It's given me moments where I'm going, okay, hey, is my wall locker up to par?
Let me do a self check. Let me do a self check.
Yep. And it's made me do it well. Not just, hey, did I do this? Yeah, I did it. No. Being completely honest with myself, right? Going, okay, because here's the problem. I feel like as humanity, we've learned how to live with the nerves. But we've learned how to live with, the uncomfortable, gut-wrenching feeling that it is to be, wrong or uncomfortable, or all of those things are things meaning that we've not confronted them. And all of those things are indicating that, man, you haven't confronted X, Y, and Z. So therefore, the fruit of whatever you're feeling, that's why you're going, oh, I don't like that. What your body's telling you to confront that, bro. Like, go ahead and fix your wall locker. Like, I remember standing on the wall
Dump
locker.
that thing back out and refold.
That's it. I remember standing on the wall locker and feeling confident when I knew, right, that I went to work on it and I felt good. And then I felt nervous on other times where I was like, man, is this right? That's a feeling that we shouldn't learn to coexist with. It's a feeling that we shouldn't learn to be comfortable with. But for whatever reason, we've been taught that it's okay to feel that way when it's your body's telling you, hey, bro, fix it. And that's what it's been. That's what it definitely has given me, is the
That's what's up.
Ability to self-evaluate.
I like that. All right. So, married in your 7th year, 4 kids in the building, super team, military background. Your father, you spent a little time in the military as well. Yeah. Got the folding the shirt down. At some point, maybe we got to do another talk or something. Just whenever we have another call or another talk like this, it's probably gonna be with a group. I need you to bring that shirt, brother. All right. So. We got to fold this thing, brother.
I got you.
Your current work obviously is, at least in the ministry aspect, is family ministry pastor. What do you do? Are you doing something? Because I know some people who are in ministry, they also do work that they're doing, like they work a job. So do you work a job currently?
No, sir. No, sir. So I've been full-time. In ministry since, I believe, in 2009. So after we graduated,
it's like 12 years.
Yeah, I've been full-time.
So full-time ministry. Your income comes from full-time ministry.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I've been there for 12 years now, in different capacities, from leading worship to youth pastor to family ministries pastor now.
Some people might think that, bro, it's ministry. Well, how you getting paid to do ministry, bro? It's ministry supposed to be free.
Right. And the crazy part is that God has availed it so much so that my family has been able to be taken care of as I've been living out my passion and my dream. I'll be honest and say
your dream, huh?
That this has been a dream for me. Like, just being able to do this is honestly, it's not work to me. It's crazy at times.
Right.
Because I'm doing what I'm passionate about. I'm passionate about people. I'm passionate about, helping the light bulb of God go off in people's lives. And so being able to do this, I'll tell people all the time, is that, your dream will make way of itself when you continue to pursue it, when you continue to push after it, when you continue to go after what God's put in your heart. God will speak to ways to help you to get to where it's full time for you. Just one of the things that I was actually listening to, who was I listening to?
So is it wrong to get paid for ministry? Is it right, or is it okay?
No, it's definitely right. In the context of, getting paid for what you love to do, in the context of getting paid and taking care of my family. There'd be no way that I would be able to do this with a family of 4 kids, unless people were helping us and paying in the context of paying in tithe and offering, so that we could be able to feed our families.
So from your perspective, tithe and offering is what not only maintains the house of God, but also it takes care of the ministers.
Yeah, it takes care of the pastors that are on staff as well. And that is so that those pastors can be able to feed and equip the saints, as the Bible says.
Is that biblical?
Yeah, absolutely. The Bible says, bring your tithe and offering into the storehouse, so that you'll be blessed, so that the blessings run you down, chase you over. The Bible talks about those things.
Is the storehouse the church, or what was they talking about at that time? Because I've heard different things lately about, like, well, it wasn't the storehouse, or that wasn't the storehouse, or that was a different time, and different things I've heard. So I just want to know what your stance is.
So my stance is absolutely. Now, your tithe in and of itself is going to be the place where you're planted at. It's going to be the place where you're. So, say for instance, as the Bible says that, as we are planted, those who are planted, or those who study the Word of God, who go after the Word of God, go after Jesus, we're like trees planted by the rivers of living water. So, in that case, your tithe goes where you are planted at. And if you're not planted somewhere, get planted somewhere, because your roots aren't growing deep. If your roots are growing deep, then you're able to withstand the things that are happening in life and being able to stand on your own 2 feet. And so,
interesting.
But the tithe in and of itself, now on top of that, which is our offering, in which we say, this is above and beyond what God has commanded.
So then, okay. So tithe is a tenth, but then how do y'all define what offering is to your congregation?
Offering is what God puts on your heart. So offering is going, bring your tithe into the storehouse. Now your offering is the faith giving portion of it, where
so it doesn't take faith to give tithe?
Oh, absolutely it does.
So what do you mean by, explain it to me, like the faith? But
the difference is it doesn't take faith in the context to do what you're told, right? So tithe is a commandment that God says, bring your tithe and offering to the storehouse. Do I have to, by faith, believe for something that I'm told to do? You don't. You actually are listening to a commandment given. So therefore, on top of that, offering doesn't say at any time that offering is required of you. That's why there's no number on offering, right? That's why we haven't understood there's a tenth on offering. There's not. But offering is the portion that's not commanded, and that's the offering is the portion in which you live by faith, going, okay, God, I'm believing that I'm going to see a return in the context of I'm just blessing you, and this is what I'm believing God for in my life. So therefore, it's the same way in the context of without faith, it's impossible to please God. So in the same context in which you are praying, right, and you're going, I'm believing God that you hear me, that you are receiving my prayer. The same way in the context of in your monetary giving, in your tithe and offering, when you give to God, you're going, God, by faith, I'm believing, that you're answering even this investment into the kingdom. So it doesn't take faith for you to do what you're told. You're actually following a commandment. That's actually obedience. That comes into a whole different category. But it does take faith. It does take faith for you to come into another area where he goes, all right, now on top, you want to see me bless you? Yeah, go ahead. Test me in this. That's why he says test me. He doesn't say test me about tithe. That's a promise. You're upholding the part of the bargain which God says, I promise you, I'm going to take care of. You bring this in, listen to me. Now on top of that,
if
you want to see me do something crazy? Yeah. You want to see me something do crazy?
You want to see me do something crazy? That's good. Okay, so
you ain't living crazy. Don't expect God to do nothing crazy, right? We go.
What Mike Todd call it? That crazy faith.
Yeah, bro. We say it like this, like, oh well, I'm living, I'm following Jesus, and I don't see, God do this, that, and the other in my life. Bottom line is, you can't expect God to do anything in the Bible if you're not willing to live by its principles. You can't expect God to show up and be a genie if you're not living by the principles in which he's provided. Right?
And I think it's very interesting you say that. I think there's believers out there, Christians, who think I'm good because I'm saved, Bible believing.
Sure.
But they're not seeing results.
Mm-hmm.
They're not seeing principal results.
Yeah.
Because yes, they're saved. Yes, they believe in God. Yes, they believe in the Bible. Yes, they go to church. But the principle is not active. Principles are not active. It's very interesting because I see like the world. I'm going to get into this. This is kind of my segue into this third thing I want to ask you about.
Yeah.
You see somebody who we might say is secular, right?
Sure.
Or in the world or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Operating in a principle that's from the Bible, and they're actually enjoying benefits from that principle, and the believer might be looking like, you sinful thing, but in some respects, yeah, maybe you can say, oh, they're not say, oh, whatever you want to say, but to some respect, Jesus would look at that and say, I haven't seen such great faith.
Exactly.
Because the principle itself is still working,
right,
and manifesting in this person's life, even though it might look like their lifestyle might look like they're not living for God.
Sure.
It's very interesting. What do you agree with that, or what do you think about that?
No, I agree completely. It's because we miss the as Christians, we miss the principle in the context of, we understand that God's a loving Father. We understand that he's God. He's our shepherd, right? The one thing that we oftentimes don't realize and we don't really pay attention to until, Easter, is that he's a king, right? And so in a kingdom, when you are brought into the family, we've been brought into a kingdom. Therefore, we are royalty. But as a child, the rules of royalty don't apply to you until you can now operate in them.
Until you mature. So you're talking about Galatians, right? 4 or whatever.
Exactly. So when you mature in them, that's when the principles begin to apply to you. So now once you mature in them and now you can activate them and live in them, you get the results of those principles, right? So that's why Jesus says in Matthew chapter 6, where he says, thy kingdom come. So a king sits on a throne and begins to speak and see stuff happen. So now, as we are kings and priests, as we are sons, we can now operate in the decree that the king has given. So therefore, when you walk out, you can now see these things happen in your life because the king has spoke them. Now they apply to you. And now you can go, wait, no, this is what the king said. So therefore, when you see, here's why. When you see people operating in the law that the king said, they don't have to be a part of the family. They just have to follow the law.
So, faith versus culture.
Faith versus culture.
Yes, that's a phrase I'm throwing out here.
Mm-hmm.
Phrase / question. Okay, so I'm going to break this down for you. So, faith versus culture. When you hear the word culture,
mm-hmm.
What is the first thing that you think about? What images or what perspective, thoughts, or what images? What do you think about when you hear the word culture for you? Culture.
When I hear the word culture, I'm thinking of atmosphere. I'm thinking environment. I'm thinking of a group of people in an area specific.
Area specific. Okay.
Yeah, in an area specific. So.
Are you just? Oh, that's like your definition. A group of people.
Yeah. Right.
Of a specific area.
Correct.
Okay. So go ahead and expound on that. Culture. Go ahead into that.
So for me, culture is the practices, the actions, the things in which people do in a specific area. So say, for instance, the culture of our church. It's the things that are in my church specific. It's the things that are ingrained in us that no one tells you that you do, but that happens and comes out of you because this is the environment that
it's a norm. It's a norm. It's a custom of doing.
Right.
Okay, gotcha. Okay. Did you? Because I was talking to someone the other day about this, and I agree with what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
Now in my 30s,
Sure.
but I can't say I define culture as that when I was like 20.
Yeah. Right.
Or my early 20s or 20s period. Right.
What did culture look like then to you?
Everything that makes me who I am. So when I think about culture, before, I automatically thought about hip hop. I automatically thought about, basketball, right?
Yeah, I feel that. Yeah, that makes sense.
Just my community as an African American, right? So to be honest, I thought that was culture. I thought that is the definition of culture: having swag, being cool. I realized I obviously evolved, growing and maturing and learning more, realizing that culture is like you said, an atmosphere. So there can be a hip hop culture, there can be a sports culture, there can be a church culture, there can be
So the culture in which you were thinking of before in the past is like a tense of culture, so to speak, the way that people referred to it. So, for instance, African culture, Black culture, white culture, like things like that.
I just thought culture was Black. I thought if it wasn't Black, it ain't culture.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, but obviously, I've grown out of that to realize that.
Well, that's because we were young, and that was the common term in which people would say, "Oh yeah, it's cultured over."
Are you doing it because you hear phrases like "you doing that for the culture"?
Right. Exactly.
So when you hear people say "for the culture," I automatically thinking about.
Or we would hear things even in church like, "That's a cultured church," or "That's a cultured."
If it was like multi-race, or if it was like
multicultural, right? And it's like it meant a bunch of different people.
No, it's multi-ethnicities. You need to say, but people made ethnicity and culture the same word, and it's not.
Yeah, no.
We can have different ethnicities and still be a part of the same culture.
Sure, right. People just was thought of in a different way. Now, when you say the question faith versus culture, what connotation are you meaning it? Are you meaning it in the context of faith versus culture, in the context of the way that you saw it when you were younger, or faith versus culture in the way that we're defining it now?
So you're interviewing me. So now he's a host of Garage. He's a host of Garage Talk.
I'm just asking so I can answer and give you.
I'm asking. Listen, son, I'm asking the question.
Right. I'm trying to feel it out so I know how to respond.
Don't flip this. No, I'm kidding. So, so when I say faith versus culture, I'm as we continue on, I'm opening up what I mean by that.
Yeah.
So let's go with faith. When you hear the word faith, what do you automatically? What is some images or some things that come out in your head?
Yeah. I mean, of course, where we grew up and where we went to school at, faith is, the evidence of things not seen. Believing in God in moments where there's no understanding or there's no necessarily physical evidence of what you're believing God for. But faith is the surety in what God says versus in what man says.
Okay. So versus. We know what versus means, right? When not verses in the Bible, but versus.
Yeah.
Like me versus you.
Sure.
The Lakers versus Miami last year. Let's go
Absolutely.
Lakers. OU versus Ohio State. We went and planted that flag. We put Baker Mayfield put that flag down on your boys, man. You know what I'm saying?
But the year before,
no.
The year before, we had to put that work in. Then after that, Joey Bosa put it on the NFL game for him too.
Hey, listen, I'm just here to give the facts. I'm not trying to. I don't know what you're trying to do, what you're trying to come up with, but you know.
Hey, I'm just letting you know what happened before and after. Before that, I
don't think pastors are supposed to talk noise. It's unholy. That's not a fruit of the spirit.
I had to let them know before and after that Baker Mayfield thing. You know what
I just say I just gave the fact you kind of came with some offense. I don't know what you got, but
I had to let them know about the truth. Now
you need to exercise self-control right now, man.
Yeah, bro. I had to let them know what the truth is. Don't let Baker Mayfield fool you.
So we're talking about verses, right? So when I say faith versus culture, in today's world, it seems as if like there's this battle between faith and culture.
Okay.
Culture as what I previously in my younger age defined as.
Right.
So if culture meaning
I see what you're saying.
Yeah. So faith is faith is like what you said, if the things speaking, if it's the things unseen and things like that, right? The Hebrews 11:1 joint, where you attach a scripture to it. So faith, you automatically are thinking about church, relationship with God, these things, right? That life, right?
Right.
When you think about culture, some people and some believers at different times, different people I've talked to, and even me myself personally, have identified what we define culture as. On the side of faith, that is a sin.
I see
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so, whether it's when we talk about hip hop, people say, "Oh, that's secular," right?
Sure.
So from the faith side, that's sin.
Sure.
So I wonder how much, this is something I've just been thinking, I wonder how much of the faith church side has titled certain people's culture a sin.
Sure.
And not vocalizing on what's happening in their culture.
Yeah.
Right. And kind of not bringing it over into it. Is the faith is faith, and I don't mean faith in this. I'm talking about us who represent the faith and things like that. The church with that. Is it out of touch with culture? Is it? You know what I'm saying? Yeah, so I want you to speak to that, and hopefully I answered your question and what I meant by that.
You did. So for me, here's how I always, and I would agree. I would say a lot of times faith is out of touch with culture in the context of, Black culture, African American culture as a whole. Oftentimes is not relevant to it, and this is just faith.
Why? Why is it? Why is it? Do you think Jesus meant for that to be like that?
Absolutely not. But here's the reason why I believe it is because we've started doing church for us four and no more. And that phrase means that we've started worrying about who's inside the house instead of being outside the house.
The four walls.
That's it. We've been looking in. And so here's the thing is once we get comfortable with the number of people that are inside the house, right? Then we start maintaining everything that's inside the house as opposed to looking outside the house. For instance, if hip hop culture is the main driving seat of what we see today, which if we're honest, it really is. And so if that sits in the front seat of what we see today, then us as Christians and us as Bible believing humans should be people who understand culture in the context of winning people to Jesus, right? And the reason why we've fallen out of touch.
That's the culture of faith. So that's very interesting because the culture of faith, the culture of church, the culture of the Bible is to save.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And the problem is we've stopped looking that way, just as a whole. And of course, there's always pockets that are doing it well, right? But if we would say, going back to what we said in the context of self-evaluation, and if we would have a term saying that, or if we would come to an agreement saying that overall the church and the culture of today are not congruent, are not touching, then that means that there is something, we're telling a story by saying that there is something that has caused us not to continue to touch. And that's got to be the view of, seeing people through God's eyes going, I got to figure out how to touch X, Y, and Z so that they know Jesus.
Do you think the reason that it's out of that it's out of touch with culture, do you think one of the reasons is race?
I don't think one of the reasons is race. I think one of the reasons is it's even deeper than that. I think it's because race doesn't become an issue. Race is a fruit of the spirit or a fruit of the issue as opposed to being the key issue.
Fruit of the issue. So what is the what? So then what would you say the issue is?
Jesus.
No. Not the solution.
Yeah, it's the issue and the solution in the context of being
the lack thereof.
There it is. Being detached from him and getting retached to him, right?
So if some of the church or Bible believing Christians are looking at a certain community, and let's just put it what it is, looking at the Black community a certain way, then you're saying they're detached from Jesus for even viewing certain people a certain way because of their color.
And I wouldn't say that they're not saved. I wouldn't say that.
No. I'm saying you said they're detached. I'm
saying in the context of that situation. So for instance, put it in the view of your own life, right? If you are dealing with if you're saved and you're dealing with masturbation, right? Or pornography, that means that in that area, you're not looking at that area.
Jesus is not connected, right?
There you go. So in the same connotation, I'm not saying that I'm not demonizing an entire group. What I am saying is that in that area specific in their life, the fruit of that, as they look at that culture or that community, what it's saying is they do not have God's lens or God's glasses on as they see them, right? Because if they did, it would be just like, the disciples at the gate saying, hey, silver and gold have I not, but what I have, I'm going to give you, right? So it just depends on the situation. If we're viewing them and we're not reaching out to them, it simply means that we haven't seen, we're not looking at them through our Jesus goggles, so to speak.
Man, we're running out of time because it's just my days. We're running out of time, but
yeah,
I want to continue on this. So, do you think race has been overly stated and overly talked about in this season of our lives and of history?
No, I don't at all.
Do you think it affects our faith?
Do I think my race or race in general affects faith?
The race problem. There's a race gap. There's racial tension. There's racial conflict. Would you agree that there's racial conflict and tension?
Of course. Yeah. Right.
Okay. Do you think that affects our faith, not individually, our faith as a unit, as a body of believers?
Yeah, I think it does. And it's because when that happens, when it is being brought up, when people are paying attention to it as much as they are, and I'm not saying that people shouldn't pay attention to it. I mean, there has to be conversations that are had. But what I am saying is that when we hold fast to that thing, it causes us to pay attention to what makes us different as opposed to what brings us together. Meaning the bottom line, Brad, and you and I both know it, is we can have race conversations all day, right?
And still not solve anything.
And still not go anywhere. The bottom line to me is what is the common denominator that's going to change stuff? That's really falling in love with Jesus. Like, that's really what you don't change core values in your life without having a reason, right?
Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Sorry. No, you go ahead.
You don't change core values in your life without having a reason. And what that reason is oftentimes 90% of the information that you get from a small child. Now, when you grow up, you may get some more information to add to the information that you already had pre-existing, right? But what happens is the only place that really changes core values is Jesus Christ himself with the Holy Spirit and God, your understanding of the Father. So if we don't have that, if we don't come into the common ground and we say, I'm letting the Bible govern me, as you bring this information to me and as you tell me about, hey, how we mistreated you or done X, Y, and Z to you, and now they allow that to filter through, right, the word of God. Without that, I can bring you X, Y, and Z all day and it won't matter, right?
We've talked obviously a
Yeah.
lot on the phone and things like that.
Yeah.
So obviously we've dove in a little bit deeper on these things, but
Sure.
you know, I remember I was talking and you talked about different experiences that you've had because of your race,
Sure.
even though you're a pastor.
Yeah.
You know, in terms of people viewing you a certain way because of your color and stuff like that. Can you share a little bit about those experiences? Like what experiences you went through? You have to go deep into it, but like this kind of like, oh, I went through this because of da.
Sure. Yeah. I've not gotten jobs before because I'm black, or, you know, I have gotten jobs.
Pastoral jobs.
Absolutely. Or I have gotten jobs because I'm black and they want me to be able to relate to the black community in the area. And
did that equally make you feel a certain way as not being
absolutely it did.
Hired because you're black?
Yeah. But it was because that they wanted a certain demographic in their church, and when they got there, didn't really know what to do with it, right? So, but I've had those situations. But again, to me, being completely honest, and I may not be giving you the answer that you necessarily want in the context.
I'm not looking for nothing I want. This is we grew up. We in the garage. We just talking. We in the garage.
Because for me, here's what it looks like: is anybody who could jump on this and now hear about those things, like even if I were to go deep into it and people begin, I never want somebody to have a conclusion drawn because of the information that I give. I would rather them live it out in the context of their relationship with Jesus, because there's many a times that I could have jumped ship and just said, bro, I don't want to be here. I ain't doing ministry no more. People like jump ship, or even concluded incorrectly because now I had this skewed point of view because of this select group of people treated me this way, right? And then now I apply it to everybody broad across the board. I never want people to do that. I want people to even look at it and go, listen, I know you did that incorrectly in my life, and we can confront that. And through love, I can say, hey, bro, you can't do X, Y, and Z. You know what I'm saying? And so therefore, I don't want you to apply this to everybody. I want people to hear what I'm saying and hear the principle of it. What those situations meant were people were ignorant, plain and simple. It doesn't apply to everybody. It means that people in that situation were ignorant and didn't handle it correctly, didn't handle me correctly, didn't handle my family correctly. And so in that, you know, I've been to churches where I will say straight up to some people like, hey, it's a great church. I'll be honest. They just don't know how to speak to black folks yet. So when black folks come in.
How do you speak? So what? Okay. So how does somebody, when you say that, what's that mean? You don't know how to talk to black folk. What's that even mean? How does one talk to black folk?
That means that you have them over for dinner and sit down and have conversations. Here's what it looks like. The reason why you don't have the communication to being able to talk cross-culturally is because you don't have those people down sitting at your table ever in your living room in your house. You want to know if you can talk cross-culturally? Look who sits at your dinner table when you have guests over. Look who sits around you, who you have communication with. If you don't talk to people who don't look like you, your voice is singular.
You know, I think sometimes, not sometimes, I think just over the course of history, I think like, and I know we've had conversations about this once again. I know that talking about race and talking about that is kind of like it was very interesting how it's the smallest part of the issue, but at the same time, it's the biggest issue that we're dealing with, right? Or one of the biggest.
Why is it the biggest issue that we're dealing with?
It's small, but it's big. Not why, but what? Because of that, I think, or in the context of that, I'm saying like I'm bringing up race. That's why I brought that up.
Yeah.
Is that it seems as though it seems like that Black people have been able to be more successful at cross-cultural interaction. Even with things like, code switching and having to change up the dialect in how you talk, and for somebody to view you a certain way in order for them to so-called accept you, or even for some people to understand your order at a restaurant or a drive-through or whatever the case, right? And but then we get together like me and we talk on the phone, or it's a different language. But I mean, I guess it's what you have to do, as people, period, based on who you're around with that. But it's interesting that it seems like we live in a society or a country where you can be yourself and be what you are authentically, or in today's word, organically.
Yeah.
But it almost seems like it's more of a frowned upon when maybe Black and brown people do that.
Sure. And I think the reason being is, even if you go back to the history of this country, who were the first settlers that came to this area?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, they were white. And so, the first organized settlements that's happened here was a white grown country, right? So when we come in and we've been brought here, and then now our conversation is, we've got to learn how to integrate into their area, so to speak. It's a natural, it's just, it comes with the territory. And that's the hard part, is that, of course, as we know, they weren't necessarily here first, but they organized it first, right? And so now, therefore, the people in the back offices, the higher ups, were white folks. So therefore, the government was originally white. We can all look back. Like, I was watching the Masters yesterday, and they showed where
watching the Masters, huh?
Yeah, I mean, I was watching the Masters, right? And they showed the first Black Masters golf player. They showed him, right? But the simple fact that you even have to do that indicates who was running the country. So therefore, I mean, it's,
if you got to state first Black, or exactly
right. If you got to state it, that indicates that what that means, other people was doing it first. So therefore, when you come into it, yes, of course, cross-culturally, we are going to have to be the persons who are initiating. Not saying that it's fair, not saying that it's okay, but simply based off of geographically who came here first, right? Like, if we looking at it for real, like, we're not, and I'm not saying that, this is the way it should be. No, I'm just telling you, like, these are the facts.
What it is, right?
It is what it is. And so in that, we know that as a culture, this is what we have to endure and endeavor. But you will find, of course, people of other cultures, white folks, if you will, who will do the same thing, who will go, you know what, let me sit down and have you over for dinner. Because again, like I was saying, is the reason why people can't cross-culturally talk often is because the conversations that you are having aren't with other cultures. They're with your culture. So therefore,
it's one-dimensional.
It's one-dimensional. It's singular. So therefore, when it comes time for conversation with another culture,
you feel weird, or you got to say these little things to try to feel like
it's the common colloquialisms that you don't even know, because right. And so that's why hip hop is so popular, if you will. It's giving a window into a culture that they've never seen. To us, it's like we're going over Uncle Bob's for barbecue. It's normal. We put on the sandals. You know what I'm saying? You got the open toes. Like, it's nothing special.
Open toes.
Open toes.
So, man, I hate to cut it short, man. This has been such a good talk, man, and we're going to do another one, bro. Hey, man, this is Gerrard Patton. Gerrard Patton.
Yes.
Walter G. Patton, family pastors, family ministries pastor, and the process, because I'm going to look at myself. But, man, hey, thanks for coming on Garage Talk, man. Garage Talk 2021, man. Much love to you and your fam. Might see you soon. We take a trip. We'll see. You know what I'm saying? All right.
Let's go, bro.
All right. Peace.
All right. Peace.